When working with the box model, a common task is to align content within its box. Chocolates. This tasty one is horizontally centered and vertically aligned to the middle. This one is horizontally aligned left and vertically in the middle. And this one is aligned right and vertically on the bottom. While I'm sure that the chocolate packers didn't do this on purpose, as web designers and developers, we often want to align content purposefully. To align elements, we use text align to set the horizontal alignment. It has values such as start to align left if the text direction is left to right, end to align right if the text direction is left to right, left, right, center, and justify. As its name suggests, we use vertical align to set the vertical alignment. Some of its valid values include top, middle, and bottom. But note that the vertical align property does not work for block elements. It only works with inline, inline block, and table cell elements. We'll talk more about inline block elements later in this course. Let's try out some alignment. We'll use horizontal alignment on the header of our resume, and we'll add an image, which is an inline element, to demonstrate vertical alignment. I have VS Code here on the left with the resume folder open, our two files ready to edit, and Live Server running. The browser is displayed on the right. Let's center the text in our page header. In the index.html file, scroll up. We start by creating a style class for our header. Let's add the class attribute to the header element and set it to page-header. In the style sheet, we'll declare a style for our new page-header class. I'll copy the background color from the header selector, paste it into our new class selector, then delete that header type selector. Best practice recommends that we don't style header elements directly. Rather, we should define a style class. I'll also copy the color and delete the H1, H2 selector as well. Then paste that color into our new page-header class selector. In the browser, our header should still look as it did. Next, let's set the font family to a sans serif font. I'll pick Arial. Now we are ready to center the text on the page by setting Text Align to Center. Nice! Open the Developer Tools and make the browser a bit wider. Using the Elements tab, navigate down to the heading elements. Here we see that there is no margin around either of our headings. Let's create a combinator selector for the H2 element within the page-header. We'll set a margin top of 5 pixels and margin bottom of 20 pixels. Looking good. Let's close the Developer Tools for more space. It's not common, but some people like to add an image to their resume. So let's add one so we can try out vertical alignment. I'll resize the browser so we have more space in the editor. To align an image, we need an image. Any image. For our learning purposes, it doesn't even need to be an image of you. I'll add a cute puppy. In VS Code, open Explorer. Click on index.html so we aren't in the Styles folder, and click New Folder. Name the folder Images. Then use the file system to add an image to that folder. I have my image of Ben the dog here. If you want to use the same image I'm using, scroll down below this video to the lesson links under this lesson. There you can find instructions and a link to download the image. If you're coding along, pause the video and get an image now. Were you able to locate an image and copy it to your Images folder? If so, we are ready to move on. Close Explorer. At the end of the main element, add a div element. Inside the div, add an image element. Give it a class of hobbies-image and set the source property to images/ and your image file name. Next, let's specify a width of 200 pixels so it's not quite so big, and add some text. My hobbies include spending time with Ben. Looking at the browser, notice that by default, the image is aligned at the bottom and in line with the text. Let's change that. In the style sheet, we declare a style and use our hobbies-image class as the selector. Set the vertical align property to top. Notice now that the top of the image aligns to the top of the text. Changing top to middle aligns the image in the middle, centering it vertically. Before we move on, let's add a nice header for our hobbies, like we have with our skills. In the index.html file, add a section around our hobbies. And be sure to get that closing tag after our hobbies. I'll reformat to adjust the indentation. Then copy the h3 element with the section-heading class, paste it after the new section element, and change the content to hobbies. Now it looks like the section content could use some margins. Let's add a class on the div element and name it hobbies. In the style sheet, we'll declare a style with a selector of hobbies and set a margin of 12 pixels. Nice! With very little effort, we now have a consistent style for our resume sections. Let's go back to the slides. So, for aligning content, we use text align for horizontal alignment and vertical align for vertical alignment. But keep in mind that vertical align only works for inline block, or table cell elements. Here are two examples for your reference. The first paragraph is text align center and vertical align top. The second example is text aligned right and vertical aligned bottom. The vertical alignment works here on our paragraphs because they are defined as inline block elements using the display property. Next up, let's talk about that display property and how it affects our alignment. Before you go, don't forget to like and subscribe.